Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Erin. Would you mind introducing yourself for everyone?
Yes, my name's Erin Boyle. I'm the Director of Product Analytics and Optimization at Wyndham Hotels and Resorts. I've been at Wyndham for almost 9 years, and my team oversees product analytics, digital marketing analytics, digital optimization, and digital data governance. So we say anything that touches the website and app, you roll through my team eventually, whether it's analytics requirements or reporting needs, as well as helping with strategy as far as campaigns go and how we can optimize our user experience on the website.
Well, and of course, with as many properties as you are managing and as many campaigns and teams that are going through, you must be pretty busy most days.
Most days, yes, there's no day that is the same, which is a good and a bad thing. It keeps it exciting and we never get bored, that's for sure. Especially with all the teams we support. So my team definitely helps support the cross-functional teams at Wyndham. So whether it's legal, finance, marketing, international teams, you name it, we work with them. So it helps us to provide that true digital first, or not digital first, but data first element that Wyndham's trying to go for. So we always say we are a cross-functional team of 4 that helps a worldwide company across 25 brands. I think it's a lot of loyalty customers that we're able to help support and make that customer journey better.
That's amazing. Well, from your perspective, when we think about that, making that customer experience better and having that data first experience for your customers, what role does data play in that larger story of the guest experience that you're trying to create?
Yeah, so data is definitely the first forefront that we say that helps impact the customer journey. So we know at Wyndham that the customer journey and customer satisfaction starts at your first touch point. So it's not upon hotel check-in, it's upon that first touch point that a customer has with Wyndham Hotels, whether it's a email, let's say marketing, maybe it's a display ad, maybe it's a TV commercial, maybe it's coming to our website or our app to explore the different properties in the area that you're trying to vacation to. So we say that, data helps us make that customer experience that much better because we're able to make it more personalized now. So we want to make sure that their first touch point helps them in their second touch point, and then into their stay, their post stay, and hopefully into their second and third and repeat stays. The data that we're able to get allows us to make those more personalized experience for the journey, makes it feel more, like I said, more personal, less one size fit all journey that I think the industry was a few years ago and now we're trying to get out of, and really making it more personalized from a user experience, but also have more targeted ads tied to a person. So they know that Wyndham cares about them as an individual instead of just another customer that walks through the door.
Well, let's dig a little bit more into that personalized experience, because there's lots of contexts in which someone might be utilizing a hotel. They could be traveling for work, they could be traveling with their family, they could be someone who's staying in extended stay properties. Perhaps they are a traveling nurse or a traveling physical therapist, and so they're staying in longer term. How do you sort out those different threads of someone's life from a marketing perspective?
Yes, so we have the customer journeys and every data point, touch point that a user has in a 360 view of what the customer does. So we can see whether, and you are traveling during the weekday, we would assume a business traveler versus with one, let's say one night, one person, instead of maybe a weekend when you're staying with 2 adults, maybe some kids are involved. So we're able to see how user behavior changes based off of the day of week, maybe how often. Obviously summer months, there's a lot of family travelers out there. So a lot of our campaigns are definitely tied to family vacation friendly type events. But, let's say during the school year or even during the day of the week that we know you're traveling, there's definitely more of those business type photos on marketing campaigns to try to entice them, because we want to make sure Wyndham's not just a weekend vacation place, but also a really good opportunity for business meetings to be held, for business travel and, offsites tied to those type of events. So definitely the data telling us what a user has done in the past helps us to target them more personally in the future. And definitely depending upon their behaviors from a booking perspective, and conversion on the website versus other channels that they interact with. A user interaction is basically them giving us a gift of this is what I like, so that we're able to make that more personalized target for them and not just give them spam content that they really might not care about at a given time.
Well, and so when you think about those touch points that the user is then feeding that information, there's more channels than ever. There's social, there's email, there's the app that people are interacting with. They could be coming from third-party review sites or booking tools. So how is your team aligning that across different functions, like your guest services and your revenue teams? And how do you guys as a whole share ROI metrics?
Yes. So at Wyndham, it has definitely taken us a few years, but we are at the point in time where we have a single source of truth. We have all data going into, our single unified platform, and we're able to align across the marketers versus the digital producers and revenue management that this is what we're seeing. This is what we're able to action on. And this was the higher lift, let's say for a given campaign. So having that unified single source of truth has definitely made the conversations easier to have, and outlining that, it might not be impressions that's the overall goal. It might be a goal for a single team, let's say, or booking growth for a single team or a click-through rate. But really, what is that end goal? And that end goal is what the unified team has been able to identify for a given campaign or a given project. So, for example, if a campaign is tied to a booking growth metric, we want to make sure that booking is the top priority and that single source of truth of how that campaign did. If it's more around PR, obviously we don't expect to see tons of booking conversions tied to that if it's around PR or brand awareness. So that's where the KPIs might change based off that single source of truth and ROAS. And that's normally decided across a universal team that has cross-functional team members in there tied to campaign-related calls that we have for roadmaps for the next year in advance that we're able to look at.
Awesome. Well, you talked a little bit about that single source of truth, which I think Clairvine for you guys in particular plays a part of that. How are you maintaining data quality and governance with all of the different individuals who could be touching those campaigns?
Yes, so we have a very rigorous data governance program. I say we have OCD as a team. We like things to be clean, organized, and actionable. So the key thing there is data being actionable needs to be accurate. And we want to make sure that there is data easily accessible to team members. So for us, we make sure any Clairvine user goes through the trainings that Clairvine provides as a platform. So every single user, I think, has gone through all 3 trainings. I think everyone technically can be a technical user based off the trainings, just more for the context and the understanding. But then what has made the governance easier is that we do have weekly campaign meetings that all campaign touchpoint personnel are involved in the meetings, and we align on what the key information is for a campaign. Let's align on a unified campaign name. Let's align on, again, that single source of truth KPI that we're looking at so we can determine ROAS later on. Let's understand what brands, what user group is getting this campaign. Is it a targeted one for a specific segment of users we're trying to target, or is it more of a broad scale campaign that's just going out the door? So those meetings have allowed us to highlight the governance needed for making the campaign successful, because that information we add into Clairvine so that all the campaign codes tied to a campaign have the same campaign name, just are different in terms of what is placed on a given marketing effort. And that allows us to give out real-time data as soon as a campaign goes live. So our campaign personnel that oversee all the different marketing channels have that data in real time an hour after the campaign goes live. So having that real-time data and at everyone's fingertips that has been really successful has allowed us to also pivot during a campaign is live. Is a page not live that's not working? Is a link broken? It allows us to action on them during a campaign that kind of saves that campaign instead of us retroactively saying, ooh, something looks wrong here. It allows us to pivot really quickly, but also once a campaign does end, we do a quarterly synopsis of what campaigns have worked, what strategies have worked, what strategies have worked for specific user segments, so that we're able to help with campaign strategy going forward. Hey, maybe we need to try a different technique because we're not seeing the return that we are seeing compared to other campaigns going out the door. So it allows us to be flexible, but also allows us to be actionable and to take those steps in the next campaign instead of, retroactively trying to figure it out after the fact, because that data is clean, concise, and accurate.
That's amazing. Like that ability to apply those learnings immediately must really have a positive impact on your optimizations long term.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Well, now let's talk a little bit about the future of data and how AI is impacting how we're utilizing data. So there's AI, there's always new tools that are coming out. Maybe it's some sort of new loyalty program that utilizes an AI chatbot, or perhaps it's an omni-channel experience that you're trying to pull some of that personalization across all of the areas upon which a customer might interact with the brand. How do you see the role of marketing data as changing for hospitality brands over the next few years as these innovations continue to come out at a very rapid fire speed? And what are you most excited or cautious about there?
Yeah, so I think AI changes, we say at like the minute level these days. There's always a new AI tool coming out that helps us do our job and makes it better for the user experience overall. What I'm cautious about, obviously, is there's a fine line between a human touch and a robot. AIs are robots. We humans, that's the big difference between a robot and a human, is the emotion that can be put out for a user, and the context and the level of care that Wyndham wants to provide. So that is one thing that we need to make sure we still provide that human touch to our customers, especially our most loyal members that have been with us for years and stay with us multiple times a year. But the good thing is that we're able to make that more personal human touch a little bit quicker and easier and more personalized than ever before with the AI. So again, another thing that could be difficult is making sure it's not like a creepy aspect. Like, I know where you are and come stay with Wyndham Hotels and Resorts, or I see you're in this area. Have you thought of staying at a Wyndham? There's a definitely a fine line between a touch point versus acting a little bit too personal, where it's in someone's comfort zone, and that's where that fine line kind of stays a little bit. And I think that's where, with marketing data, we need to be careful that we don't cross that line, because there could be a little personal space issue that a customer might feel, instead of it being a thoughtful action, and they might take that as this is weird. So that's one thing. And there's another thing we need to make sure we stay on top of, especially with AI, is that privacy and legal consent, especially as we are a worldwide company. There's different rules in different regions, and we need to make sure that those take priority. Obviously, we can't slip the cracks of the consent and the privacy rules around the data. So just making sure that those definitely still remain top priority for us, so that we can keep doing the best we can at marketing. We need to make sure we stay within those guardrails that are set for us for a reason. But that's where AI, we need to definitely make sure that does not get impacted as well.
Absolutely. And I think that that's what you touched on about it needs to not be over the top. It needs to not be creepy. Personalization is incredibly important in people's marketing journeys and marketing experiences, but there is a line between what is helpful personalization and what is overreaching personalization. And so It's always finding that balance between the two. Do you feel that as we move forward into kind of the next iteration of how are we using this generative AI experience, do you feel that people are becoming more comfortable knowing that brands are personalizing than they had been previously? Or are people still kind of trying to figure out, where is that data coming from? How do they know that about me?
Yeah, and I think that's something that's going to continuously change as we, keep going. I would say 5 years ago, if we're doing the stuff we're doing today, people would think it would be kind of creepy. But to a point, I think users are almost expecting it. at this point. I don't think they want to see content tied to stuff that they don't truly care about, where someone likes to ski versus beach vacations. Why are we promoting them a ski trip instead of a beach trip? I think there's a certain level of expectations now. Customers, especially loyal customers, do expect, especially when it comes to, previous stays. That's stuff that we were able to action on like 5 years ago. We know you stay with us. Do we want to show you something similar? That's stuff that we've done for quite some time, but now taking it to the step further of, oh, okay, we've seen that you continuously search for stuff in Florida, or ski trips in Colorado versus city destinations in New York. We can try to start piecemealing things together and highlight some of the user behaviors and user expectations around what they want out of a trip that they're staying with. So that makes it definitely more fun for us as marketers, because we're able to make those personalized offers and targeted offers and really make the campaigns personal and personal based off a user segment. Obviously, we're not going in and making a million different offers for each million user that we have. But we're able to clump those segments together so that a user does feel more personal. It's not that one size fit all campaign that's being targeted to every single loyal customer that we have. It's more personalized and they feel that connection to Wyndham, because again, we're a hotel company, but we want to make it as we are a part of your vacation. We are the best part of your vacation. So we like to say we make hotel travel possible for all. And we want to make sure when people are thinking of their next vacation, they remember the positive touch points that Wyndham provided, that they'll just keep coming back, and that we are their forefront for their vacation.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Erin, today. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.